Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're probably wondering, why are we doing this? Why so late? Why this? Believe me, I am exhausted. The temperature you see at the bottom of the screen, I fear it lies. It is 60. It's almost 70 degrees out and it's raining. And this is part of the colder parts of the US. Why? Well, anyway, back to what we're doing. I ended up um talking to not talking to hold on. Fee fi fo fum. Here's something. Okay, here it is. Alright. Wait a minute. It was here. Oh, either way. So, anyway. This is what I said. I actually made a video series about bikes and the apocalypse. A pros and cons list. Bikes are actually a terrible idea. And this person, Viking Princess, terrible name. Uh, what is it? Now you need to read the Zombie Survival Guide. Bikes are better than other vehicles because they are quieter. They don't require. They're also greater for cardio. The only con is you're more exposed and not as fast as a motor vehicle. But the thing is zombie apocalypse, you need to cover. If you need to cover a vehicle, you've already fucked. And if you need to get somewhere faster, you're probably fucked. Yes, that's why vehicles are pros. The thing is, bikes. You can do your own research on this. Bike tires are harder to come by instead of car tires. If a if your bike tire pops, sure you can go, but eventually your tire will the tread will fall off and then your bike is completely useless. However, a car, you could still drive a car if all your tires are blown. Is it dangerous? Yes. Will you the more possibilities of you sliding? Yes. Dangers? Yes. Are you encased in steel? Also yes, and that's a pro. Reason why. Um you know, I don't even know if she is watching this video. Yes. You are right about the thing. However, the two fuels things is yes, you're better. It's better for if you're better, however, it depends on where you are. In the US, I think it said like the things like the statistics is like 80% of Americans are not athletic, which means they may be capable of riding a bike, but them going long distance on a bike, no. you gotta think is, yes, it may be better for you. And the problem, and I'll get more in details of the processes and stuff like that. Okay, now, a vehicle, you are protected from the elements. You run out of gas. Well, fuck. Here it is. The homeless population. A lot of homeless people actually sleep in their own cars. So, one, if it is, if your car is fucked up enough to where it doesn't look like someone lives there, you could just armor it up and live in your car. Like that. Um, so yeah. Um, and if you just happen to live in an electric car, even better. Um, sure, the problem is um having tolling a towing a trailer of solar panels is, you know, it's going to give you infinite charge, but the problem is distance. Is, you are running out of battery and you do have to sit and wait until it recharges. However, while you're sitting and waiting, you're still protected. Um and reason why is, another thing is, I talked in another video, is cargo capacity. Um Only thing I know, well, I have a for my, cuz I have an electric bike, and I do have a cargo trailer for it, so I could, if so if I need to run to the store, I can tow my groceries back. Um However, in a zombie apocalypse, you are, in any apocalypse, this goes for any apocalypse. It's not the monsters, demons, ghouls, or zombies, or monkeys, you have to worry about. It's people. If a person, if you are on a bike, traveling, you're quieter. Yes, however, people understands the distinct sound of what a bicycle looks like, especially if they live near parks. Because, yeah, you always hear the of, on the bike path. So, yes. Even out in the, you know, you would understand. A living person would know, which makes you a target. And because if you are, one, towing, if you just happen to have a cargo thing like I have, and are towing your survival gear, guess what? Because it's not encased in a trunk, they can actually guarantee, they can tell, they can see what you have. And if you have a backpack on, um, sure, you can carry more stuff if you have it. However, and then you got to think of the weight capacity for a bicycle. That counts as the driver or the rider, the supplies in their backpack, and the supplies in the trailer they're towing. Or like those bike baby strollers that you can attach to your bike and tow that has like wheels and stuff. Yeah, those could be used as cargo things too. So, yes, quieter. The problem is like I was saying earlier, is the fuel efficiency. Um, Gearing for bike. If you, let's just say, like the statistics we done in another video was us talking about bicycle and car finding ratios, like where you can find them in the comment. And I brought up, and here is um, yes, I know it sounds dumb, but around where I am, because I live in a city. There's only two locations in a yeah, there's only two locations in a 10-mile radius that sells tires. One is our local Walmart. Two is a bike shop literally just up the street. However, one survival 101 is you stay away from super centers like malls, giant stores, hospitals, stuff like that, because one, malls, schools, you got to look at, because there isn't actually a list you got to look at to see if your local mall or school is in an evacuation zone for FEMA. So it's, an evacuation zone. If you don't know what that is, you are going to be the first to die. But I'm gonna end up saying it anyway. It is a place you would go where the authorities and stuff tell you to go that's safe. When I used to live down south, our school is actually an evacuation center because its proximity to an airport. Literally, a chain link fence separates the airport from our high school. So, yeah, that, because the location was designated as an evacuation zone, because helicopters, you have plenty of space and it's all fenced off. Two. Yeah. Now I'm gonna read. This is dumbest argument ever. You're going to expend more energy maintaining a vehicle and finding fuel than just having food and water. Riding a bike, you're already going to want food and water. They add additional resources that are unnecessary. Now, are you saying food and water is unnecessary? You need that to survive. So I'm gonna assume that no, that's not what you're talking about. Okay. The problem is you can carry more things with you in a vehicle than on foot. That's a given. That's why wagons was invented. Vehicles add more protection. Again, it's not just zombies and, demons or whatever the situation is. It's just people too. It depends on what vehicle you're also into. The older models of cars, like the solid steel. Like my stepdad used to have a car. Well, obviously a car, but fuck, I don't even remember the model. The frame was solid steel, and told me that this is how they made cars back in the day. Is that the car was just solid steel. Um, and I got to thinking, well, that's why bank robbers got away, because the car is pretty much impervious to small arm fire. So, um, okay, then let's continue. Bike parts. Going back to the tire thing. Not just tires, but parts in general. Um, One, reading a manual, a car manual, will actually give you the list of other cars parts that you could actually use in your vehicle that's actually not part of your vehicle. Like, it'll give you other make and models that you can use those parts for. You can strip parts and put them in your vehicle. That's pretty much common. That's how pretty much people build their own, mosh pit cars. Those, what are they called? Most of the time they look fucking terrible. Um, then, um, the last one wasn't for me, but I'm gonna answer it anyway. Uh, One, it's not the animals he's talking about. Ticks. And and stuff like that. Feed on blood. Let's say a zombie had a tick on it. The tick gets full, falls off, gets hungry again, bites another person, this time a healthy living person. Now, do you now have the zombie virus from the tick? Because it just drank zombie blood, which makes the tick a carrier. So, it's not the tick would be infected, it'd just become a carrier because of it, having infected blood in its system. Same with animals. If a dog bites a zombie and then a dog bites you, congratulations, you are infected. Not because the dog's infected, it's just because the blood and flesh material embedded in its teeth that is now embedded into you because you got bit by a dog. So, yes. And reading in a car isn't just about traveling. One, in my previous video, I was talking about the pros of a bike. Bikes are good for short-term travel. So, like, you need to travel to the next street over. Yes, that's good. However, long form travel, no. It's because reason why is while you're traveling on a bike, if you guys, if you're doing long form travel, if you and your group are on bicycles, you guys are gonna get tired. What are you gonna do? climb a tree and sleep. Most people, or most adults, can no longer climb trees without any climbing gear. Um, let's say you have a, let's just say you, because you're on a bike, you forgoed your, instead of bringing 4 days of rations, you left 2 days behind to take climbing gear. Now you can climb a tree. Problem is a backpack can only hold so much. So yes, you are right about, it's quieter, but you're not thinking of the bigger picture. Um Again, you get tired, what are you going to do? If you get lucky, you find a rickety old house. You're tired, your group is tired. What do? Kick in the door. Now, guess what? Now, what happens if someone's living there? You can't run and hide in your car and drive away, and the bullet most likely hitting the car and not going all the way through. You're on a bicycle, which is, unless if you're wearing body armor, you're toast. I mean, I do understand they are places in the world where, firearms are harder to come by. Um, I, because, my stepbrother used to live in England. And, I've asked him about, guns. Yes, British people, surprisingly, do have guns. But problem is they're only legally able to own rifles and shotguns, for sports and hunting purposes. And, you also have to go through a long permit process to obtain a permit for, said shotgun or rifle. Same goes for China. You can, you can own rifles and shotguns strictly only for sports and hunting purposes. And also, Japan. You can own um, shotguns and rifles. Everything, you can own guns in all those countries. It's just, legally too. The problem is it takes forever in order for the permit and stuff to get that permit. And the problem is you can't use them for self-defense because you will go to jail. And people's and the U.S. being the where there's more guns than people. Yes, however, most of those guns are actually being held up by like doomsday preppers, collectors, and museums. So that's where most of the, because, fuck, I used to watch Doomsday Preppers. Everyone ever I seen had at least 100 plus guns. 10 episodes, that's 1,000 guns. So, and the ownership who's behind the U.S. is actually Switzerland. They're actually 1-to-1 ratio, because it's by law. You have to have a gun. Fuck, they have tanks in their barns. That was from a documentary, so, yeah. So, yes. It depends on one, availability. Um, like I said, the stores, you got to look out to them to make sure they're not. If it's an evacuation zone, like you got to actually do research before you do make a plan. If it's an evacuation zone, no. It's going to be crawling by either F1, if it survived, is going to be crawling with people. And if it failed, it's going to be crawling with the undead. 2. Availability. Do you own a bike? If so, good. Congratulations, you can short form travel. Bikes are good for traveling throughout the town. You know, if you live in a city, yeah, a car. Because one, the population is too dense. And a car, if you put fencing on the front window, congratulations, you can plow through a group of people. Fuck, you see it on protests on TV of drivers plowing through protests. So, yes, you can drive through people. And, again, if you get tired, you can sleep in your car. You can, let me say this again. You can sleep in your car. You're afraid someone finding you. Pull off, like if you see a street that that's not very traveled. One, you pull up and you can sleep in a how should you say the forest, like those wooded paths. You can sleep in a car in there. So you gotta do it. There's pros and cons. To this situation. Yeah, you gotta weigh them. Um, if it's right for you. Wow, it took forever for me to say that. If you live out far enough away to where you don't have to worry about your neighbors shooting at you while you're on the street, sure. So, yes. So, well, I guess this is the end of the video. See you guys another time.